talk about the budget, and I guess at first I want to talk about there's a process, so there's supposed to be a process. And it really, just so folks know, it starts out with department requests. What's a department? You know, the treasurer's office, the Commonwealth attorney, I guess the clerk of courts, and but the various departments you'll see, the school, they submit a request of what they want in their budget. Now, primarily, it pretty much follows what they did the year before, and that's something with Ron's help we may improve on in the future with the more review in the not too distant, what we call a zero-based review. Instead of starting with last year, start with a clean sheet of paper and see if we can save a few pennies. But anyway, so it starts with department requests, and then the finance director assembles those expenses, what we plan to spend, and then and income estimates, and then he or she will present a draft to the finance committee, and we'll have a work session. And I might add, these work sessions are open to the public should you decide to come. It's a little bit like watching grass grow, but you're welcome. And we literally go through that budget line by line and looking for stuff. And then after that, we take it to the full board for review and our adjustments work session. Again, that's open to the public. And when we come up with what we think is an end result, well, there's a discussion about tax rates, because you got to make the income meet the expenses. I mean, that's what this is all about. And again, this is
not if you're the federal government.
No money is spent at this. It's a budget. It's a plan. That's the other thing I should key on. A budget is a plan. It's not talking about actually spent dollars yet. So once we balance income versus expenses, that's where your tax rate, that's where that gets set, tax rates. And after that, if we're going to adjust tax rates, then there needs to be a hearing and an appropriate decision by the Board of Supervisors, a public hearing. Everybody gets their chance. Must be advertised.
Have we had a balanced budget?
That's what I was going to
Every year. Yes.
It is one. It is
I mean,
balanced
that's
every
Always
year.
had a balanced budget.
That's what you attempt anyway, is a balanced
No,
budget.
that's what we do.
Good.
I was on the board, 25 years ago, and we've always had a balanced budget. And if we've had to raise taxes, or we've had to send them, we've never, I mean, I guess I say that, at the end of every year, there's leftover money in the funds. If I say funds, there are different, let's call it checking accounts. They have funds. And the biggest one would probably be in the general fund. And by our own ordinances, our own policy, we make sure there's, right now, I think our number is 20%. At the end of every year, we want 20%. And those are, and there's some guidance that says that can be as low as 7 or 8, 9, 10%. But
That's for emergencies.
That's just left there. That's just to soak up if something you didn't expect.
All right.
So is that carried over to the next year?
It is. It's carried to the next year. And so once we get that balanced budget, again, we have the public hearings for tax rates, and then we go to a public hearing for the budget. Okay, and everybody has a chance to ask questions and look at it, and once it's approved, and then that's the budget, and it has to be, the thing about the tax rates, if we separate them, the tax rates have to be done in April, because they have to send the bills out in May, or at least by the 1st of May. So the bills go out in time for everybody to pay their taxes in June. And they can't bill them until we set the rates. And I'll tell you right now, I'm 99.9% sure the tax rates will be what they are now or less. They will not go up this year.
Good.
So that's the budget process. And
I got a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Back up to the department request. Does anybody field those? Because what if you have somebody ask for a 6-figure Hummer to drive?
We go through every one of them line by line.
You have to go through every step like this, no matter what the department asks for?
Yep.
Every
We're
line.
supposed to.
Well,
I'm
no,
telling
that's
you,
that's the only way to do
If
it.
you want to kill an afternoon, several days, come to a finance committee budget work session.
But there's no other way to do it except line by line. There's no reasonable
Some of them
way.
go quickly, and when you get to what we're going to look at, we're going to look at it in a minute. Okay, so anyway, so from there, that's the process. So now we'll talk about, let's talk about tax rates, that seems to be a hot subject for everybody, but let's talk about that. Let's see.
Wait, I want to read your lips. You said no new taxes this year.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, just checking, double checking.
Unless Jeff's gonna vote for him, because I ain't. Anyway, so this, what I have in front of you is a, and this was actually done in preparation for the 2026 year, which we're in. In the past, which
Can you zoom
finance
in?
director, which it'll probably happen again in the future, they used to present us with a budget book.
Can you
Make
zoom
that
it
bigger
in?
too.
Oh, I need to make that bigger, okay. All right, need to work on graphics, huh?
Just,
And-
just size.
There you go. Now we can see it.
And I should put this at the top, but this is, for comparison, you can see Halifax County, this is where we are right now, 50% real estate, you can read, I won't read it to you. The other counties around us, just for comparison. And I highlighted, you'll see two in Mecklenburg County. I have the one, what they were, and what they're gonna be in 2026, 27 year. And you notice what they did,
Dropped.
they dropped. Look at their property tax rate. They dropped 80 cents. 80 cents, almost $1.
Can I say
And
it
no
out loud?
taxes on tools.
Huh?
Can I say it out loud?
You know why?
Data center.
Data center.
Because of why?
Data centers. Not only did they drop, just because I know people don't want to hear that word, they built a new high school, a new elementary school, several new fire departments, staffed their fire departments and EMTs, and they dropped their tax rates. Am I jealous? Yes.
What is machinery and tools? You gotta pay extra tax on that?
You don't, but businesses do.
Businesses do.
Business, okay.
And we can talk about that. But that gives you an idea, and just to give you an idea I'll back up, why are we talking about tax rates? Again, we don't anticipate ours moving. There's right now, a current tax rate and the amount of real estate we have, just what this is, for every penny, if we raise or lower tax rates, that changes what we get, the county get in its coffers, $419,000. For every penny on personal property tax, up or down, it changes what we get, about $35,000. And for every penny on machinery and tools, about $15,000, $16,000. Just to give you an idea what it's up about. And so, from there, let's go, no, I don't want to go there. Not yet. Let's talk about general fund, that's the big one, that's where all the money comes from, and stuff gets transferred. So this is just kind of a quick look, where's the money being spent? Where's it going? And is this exact, this was compared for the 2020 year, but it's gonna be pretty close every year. And I'm not gonna read that to you.
But I can't
You
read
can't read
it. What's
I have
purple?
copies of it if you want.
Okay, or just tell us, what's purple?
Yeah, purple is schools, 29%,
How much percent?
29%.
Okay,
What's the
And the gray on
gray?
the right, debt service, 23%.
What's it?
Guess where most of that debt goes?
debt service.
Gray?
That's
Yeah.
where we borrowed money and we were making payments.
Wait a minute, I thought we had a balanced budget. Why are we borrowing money?
We borrowed money to build a school.
Why are we-
Now, don't confuse, we can still borrow money, we're not borrowing money to fund the general fund, we're buying money to build something, we're borrowing money to build something. Okay, so in our budget, we have to make that payment.
So that's the gray.
That's the
That's
great,
loan payments,
that's
basically.
loan
A
payments.
lot of money.
And we know that in the next 2 years, we know that there's several coming off. Unfortunately, guess what we just did?
Added to it.
We just added $110 million to it.
$110 million.
It's only
For
money.
the
High
high
school.
school? Right.
It didn't come free.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant something other than that.
Yeah, that payment's not really, I think it's creeping in there now, but it's gonna replace the ones that are dropping
Performance
off.
gleaned from the high school.
And then you've added,
But there's a silver lining, we've added a tax. You add a 1% sales tax.
Can
to
they
help
read?
with
Can they
that.
count? Some can.
where's that a silver lining?
I'm gonna close that door.
I'm getting,
I got it.
I got it, y'all sit down.
Can you say what the red is, please? Can't
Yeah,
read
red,
it.
the next biggest one.
Public safety,
Good.
That's gonna be.
that would be your sheriff's department,
That's a good place to put money.
and fire and EMS, and,
Yeah,
you know.
fire, EMS.
Oh,
And can you give us the rest?
He's got a copy if you want.
Yeah, or go by size, there's like a darker red. What's
Yeah,
the
what's the
darker
darker
red?
red?
I have a copy of that, right, and I'll make a little look at it.
Yeah, this was next.
Okay. Okay, that's this one, and then this one's next.
Okay, thank you.
So, you know, we're just looking at
Sir?
it, you asked
that's
about the
not
pink, you know,
The green's big, that
the
one's
next
not.
biggest one is, maintenance and refuse, that's 8%.
That's new.
And we get down to administration, which is 6%, what I am told, I recently went through a budget class for counties, and if you were under 10% for administration, you were considered okay. And the blue is 6%, is what we spend on administration of the county. And I just went to a budget class, Virginia Association of Counties, and I was informed that if that number was under 10%, you were considered to be doing it.
It's kind of reasonable, I hate to say it.
But what is 8%? Staffing?
Yeah.
What do you mean by administration? Staffing,
That's-
paperwork, office supplies, what?
Yeah, well, finance department, wrong administration, the people that answer the phones at the county.
Like salaries and stuff?
Yeah,
Okay,
salaries, just for
okay.
the administration, not, you know, to administer the county,
And that's only 6%?
yes. When you heard Mr. Oak say, because we're cheap, wasn't far off, okay?
I wasn't far off at all, it was on point.
It's so, when we hear that we're still doing some things the way they did in the 1950s, that's correct. It takes money and people to change. And so,
Amen.
But money
Anyway.
needs revenue.
which one, let's see, maintenance and refuse, social services is only 4%, but that's what we, understand the state puts out a lot of money too. That's what we, out of the general fund, put towards these various, volunteer fire departments and rescue is outside.
That's separate from public safety. I
Yeah,
thought
public
that was
safety
together.
sheriff's department, I'm sorry. But, so anyway,
Well, let me ask this, now, if public safety, doesn't the state put a lot of money into that program
they
as well?
do, but this is out of our.
Oh, I know, I understand, I'm just trying
They
to,
do. We'll talk about the whole number.
Okay.
Well, no, but we'll see that on the income side, because this actually shows the entire budget. And the budget shows where the taxes come from. We're gonna look, the next page is gonna be, where does this money come from?
The public safety is the jail, juvenile detention, transports, it's all inclusive of that public safety element. So
that's pretty reasonable too, isn't it?
I should have started,
Wait, so we only spend 19% of the budget and we have a good low crime rate? That sounds pretty good.
where's my Democrats? That's because we're all armed.
It has a lot to do with it.
Shoot.
Not all of us, she's not.
But anyway, I just had to, I just couldn't resist. I should have backed up, should have started, you know, on the Board of Supervisors, none of us that are voting on this are finance, I don't think a single one of us is a CPA. You know, I'm an engineer by background and in military, and we got law enforcement, he probably has more experience at this, a greater portion of this budget than the rest of us, and we got an individual who was a school superintendent, and, you know, my estimate, Larry, Dennis, and Jeff probably have more knowledge of this budget than I do, some of their experiences, but I wanted to do this in District 5, so if I can't answer your question, I will find it, the answer.
Okay. So the biggest income is real estate taxes?
Well, we'll move to that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, here we go. My biggest heartburn is machinery and tools tax is 3%. I would like to see that grow. That's me.
You got a
We won't be
printout of
doing it
that
this
for
year.
us?
Huh?
You got a printout of that one for us?
Yeah.
just-
Yeah, we handed it to you. You got one of each. So,
Oh, I thought it was the same thing, I'm sorry.
that's okay. They're both brightly colored circles. So machinery and tools would come from the big companies in the area.
And of course, we keep that low. The idea is you want folks to come here, you know. We've done a good job, you know, in West, Hitachi is gonna double in size, and now's the time to get them. Let's up that a few pennies. But and I say that tongue in cheek, that's a future event. We are not planning to raise any taxes this year right now. But that's a point, if we had to. Because so some people don't realize, like, and some people would say, like, Hitashi's a good thing, don't get me wrong. But in order to get them, we had to trade away machinery and tools tax for 5 years. So
That
hurts.
that figure you quoted earlier, I think you said for every penny, it generates 450,000 or something. Does that go with any of these taxes? Like if you raise machinery and tools by 1%.
Let me give you a copy of that.
I got it. Oh, no, I don't.
I didn't print many copies, but I.
You got enough for this crowd.
Thank you.
You want one thing?
Yeah, I see, okay, so every penny you add gives 15.5 for machinery and tools. My head's not making that much with percentage. What if you raised it 5%?
Let's say Hitachi has a wonder machine that spits out little transformers. And
Right.
it cost them $15 million, okay? So, what's the number? It's what's the number on there?
You've got, for every penny for machinery and tools, it generates 15,500.
So what's the rate?
1.26.
So if we went to 1.27, we'd get $15,500 more.
So if you went from 3% to 5%, what would that generate?
Well, we would have to, in order to go to 5%, we would have to, 1.26, we'd have to go up 2/5, so I'm gonna say that's 175.
I thought you weren't an accountant.
No, but I'm good at numbers.
But now, this is the two theories of government. If you tax the rich or you tax the poor, is the way I understand it. And you're taxing the rich sounds kind of,
I just wanna make it even. I want everybody to pay the same amount.
Well, but it also sounds like if they went from 3 to 5% on machinery and tool tax, it's not gonna generate that much money.
But let's talk about if you're a farmer, who's paying the taxes here?
Well, I'm just using your Hitachi example.
I'm just, yeah, it looks like, well, of course, Hitachi has some land, but who has more land? The truth is, it's an agricultural.
yeah, they're lower, because they
They
are.
are,
Now, personal property, that's like your car and stuff.
yes.
Why is that so dang much higher than everything else?
Because back in the day, when the landowners were running the county, they wanted to make sure everybody paid their fair share. I'm just telling you the truth.
Yeah.
The folks that didn't own land.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
If you're a big landowner, you're paying a big number. If you're living in town on a 1/4 acre house, you're not paying a lot, but you got 2 or 3 cars. So that's,
One of the, not a red herring, but one of the complaints that we often get on the personal property side is how that's calculated. And the state does Edmonds, or does the state do Blue Book? I don't know which, the county, there's a competition of which one taxes a vehicle at a higher rate. Either Edmonds or Kelly Blue Book on the valuation of vehicles.
oh, NADA too.
Yeah, NAD.
That's what the county used for years, and they had a mix-up last year. That's because they went from NADA to, or NADA quit doing the service something, and they had to change.
And I've always heard, I used to sell cars and loans, and we always wanted to see the book buy a car at the rate they showed it at. We always thought that would be good.
And there's another thing, you'll notice at the bottom of that one, because it says, those rates are adjusted to show equality, because some of them, like, I live in Spotsylvania County, their rate was a lot higher, but they only charged you 50% of the value. So there are other things that can manipulate that. So when we've shown the rates locally corrected for any, because one of them, I forget, Pennsylvania or somebody, they actually only charge some lower percentage, but their rates actually shows higher. So this has been adjusted to make it equal. To show you-
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Why do we pay personal property tax? I pay tax on my vehicle when I buy it. Why am I paying taxes on it every year that I have it? I mean, I may have it 20
How much
years
land
and
do you
it's paid
own?
for it, and I'm still paying
How
tax on
much
it.
land do you own?
I don't own any land.
Well, there's your answer.
I do,
But-
and I gotta pay city and county.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's your answer. You live in the wrong spot.
But you own a little bit of land, so I'm just telling you, that's the way it got started.
But it
years
makes
ago.
sense if everybody needs to participate with the public.
And to answer your question,
Yeah,
our forefathers wanted everybody to participate in paying these local taxes.
yeah.
And you didn't own any land, so the way to get, but you did own a car. Or, you know, as time went, in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, as car ownership increased. That's how this, not saying it's right, not saying it's wrong, I'm just saying that's how.
Everybody needs to pay something toward the upkeep,
If it was up to me, we'd do away from all and do a
consumption tax.
A flat rate
a
tax.
flat
Explain why that was
sales
wrong.
tax.
Hey, she can tell you why that's not a good idea if you want to hear it one day. That's her background, not mine.
Anyway,
Sounds
Well, and
like,
I
sounds
know
like you just
Ron
shouldn't
will-
own anything.
He wants to raise income in this county, and I understand that we need that, but the people in this county also don't, a lot of them don't have the money that they used to. And I don't care what was done 100 years ago. That's irrelevant to me. I think that the board, in dealing with this budget, because I looked at the old budget, line item, and there's a lot of things on there, in my opinion, need to be cut, and cut those instead of raising taxes. I mean, you're taxing people to death, and I'm not saying you specifically, but the county, the board of supervisors, that's what they're doing, and they're running people away from this county. The county is not gonna grow like that.
yeah, anyway, I'm using your segue into line items. I just showed you a picture of the front page of the budget. It's 35 pages long. Okay? This is what we do in the finance committee, in the work sessions. We go through this pretty much line by line.
So regardless of where you get your money from or where it goes, you've got to have a certain amount to
Want a
operate.
copy of it?
No, God, no. But you got to have a certain amount to operate, so.
Truth in lending, this is the 2026 budget that was approved. There probably been some minor manipulations. And just so you understand what happens, we talk about the process, you'll see different departments. When the board votes, then that department head, you know, sheriff's department, animal control, or treasurer, they can spend their money within their budget, within those lines as they see fit.
Yeah.
But if they want more, they
That's-
gotta come back and ask for permission. So that's what, so they change a little bit, but as long as they stay within their,
But again, it's like anything else, you've got a certain amount you have to operate. And it's a matter of where you get that money from.
I agree. Now, you wonder why, and as even though I am too, you know, we talk about solar or data centers or batteries, and you ask about, people jump all over me, well, you're for that. I'm really somewhat agnostic. I'm probably more for it now that I know more about it, but I really don't care whether they have solar here or not. I think I like a landowner to be able to do landowner rights. I think, but they provide money, and guess what they don't do? They don't call
Absorb any income.
911.
Yeah.
They don't have people that we have to put in their schools, which is, you remember a big circle? 28% went to education.
Yeah.
So yeah, Hitachi, I'm not saying it's a bad deal. It's a good deal down the road, but right now they want to bring 900 people here, which we're going to have to educate their kids, and they want to keep their money for 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so you see,
I do.
that makes life interesting.
Yeah.
And then you got data centers, and so you got them over here and solar here, and then you got data centers, which they employ a few people, but not as many. But they bring a whole lot more money. And then you got battery, which they don't occupy quite as much room as solar, but they do bring money, and they don't have.
Now, what is this, battery?
Battery storage.
Battery storage.
We don't have any yet.
That's what I thought. I didn't
Stand by.
think. Yeah.
But they generate money, they don't call 911, and they don't ask us to build their roads.
So now, of all of these solar projects and batteries and all, how much of it is state mandated and how much of it is a
There's
good
nothing
idea?
state mandated right now, as far as solar. But not on us. I mean, well, to the power company, I think there are percentages, but nobody said you have to go to Halifax County.
No, but they said you have to have so
Yeah,
much.
that's really a discussion for Dominion. You
Oh, I
they
know,
gotta-
I know.
And there's a discussion of solar and wind, or renewables. The big thing is, we have all three in Halifax County. have
We got
solar-
wind?
No,
Oh,
we have
I think
renewables.
so.
We have solar, we have coal, which is not renewable, then we have in between the biofuel plant.
Yeah.
which is, some people call it renewable, which I kind of do, because it uses stuff that's generated in the county from wood plants, but it creates a fire and creates carbon dioxide, yeah, so.
And also where those chips, the things they make chips out of used to be returned to the land as nutrients, now it's taken away, so somebody's
You know,
gotta
I beg to
add
differ. I
nutrients.
was a plant engineer at Huber.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do, but I had a DEA person tell me,
Huh?
they wanted us to put a bag over that plant because of the chips were getting into the woods. I'm not kidding.
Did you say DEA?
Yeah,
Or DEQ.
DEQ, I knew what you meant.
Well, what does that have to do with drugs? What?
Evidently, somebody's taking some that aren't good for them.
DEQ, I'm just saying.
But they didn't
They
want you to
consider
get,
everything, they consider wood chips pollution, okay? I'm just
but
telling
there's,
you.
but yet, you gotta admit, though, that used to go back to the land so that the trees could grow better. So now the trees aren't gonna grow nearly as quick unless somebody
Yeah, they're all
fertilizes.
fertilize them with that ash that comes off of it.
That's not gonna do for the whole thing, that's just gonna give them,
You're
make
right.
it neutral
It's just-
soil.
There are different stories I'm
Yeah.
telling you all the way around. So, anyway, the idea here was to show you this, and this actually, it starts off, you know, we're talking about general fund, and let's see, the treasurer, you just get an idea. Let's see, what page, oh, wait a minute, I'm not on page 1, that's on page 7. That just gives you an idea. It starts off with, what are all the funds and how much revenue do we expect to, and you can see across the top, we're looking at several years, so we can compare. And then to the far to the right, when I talked about early on about, there was a request from the department. That's what goes in this line. And then there's the staff, Ron and his group, the finance folks, they get together and they go through it for us first, and they go, we think this is what it ought to be. You know, there's an example in here, we'll call it no name, somebody wanted to give themselves a big raise. And so they was in the request, but the staff admin said, yeah, that's not gonna happen. So they, and so we didn't really get it, but it showed here. And then at the end, when we approve something, that's what happens.
So there is a bit of a fielding for request.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, in the beginning, we go to each department and go, tell us what you want.
Yeah.
But right now, they pull out last year's and go, this is what I want. And what you're talking about line by line going through it, that's what Ron wants us to do. He wants each department to go, okay, I'm not giving you last year's sheet. You start with a blank sheet and tell me what you need.
Now, does this work like the military does, or the regular government does, where if you don't spend it, you lose it for the next
It
budget?
could, but in this county, which we need to manipulate that right now. Right now, we have a gentleman's agreement amongst all our departments, especially the school, they're the big one, that if you don't spend it, we will put it in a special fund called carryover. And if you need a capital project, or you burn up an air conditioner, something big, you can come get out of that.
Seems reasonable.
Huh?
That seems reasonable.
Yeah, well, yeah, but now,
If you've done a
now
good
people
job
are
of-
starting to bet on it, okay?
But look, if you've done a good job of budgeting in the first place, then there's not gonna be a lot of extra
Well, you know
that
how
they
it
don't
is, you leave a
spend.
human alone with a good thing long enough, and we'll screw it up.
Oh, yeah.
Somehow. So we probably need to relook at that and come up with a more codified, versus a handshake, we need to probably.
That's
codify it.
exactly what I was gonna say, some kind of formality to
Well, now-
make a parameter around it.
Remember the audit, they said we need to revisit our policies. There
Mm-hmm. yeah.
you go.
But, yeah, but the shame of it is, the way the county used to be, that would work fine, because people aren't gonna cheat too hard. But now you've gotta codify it so that they can't cheat too hard. It's a shame it has to be that way.
And just so you know, to finish up,
See what I mean?
we've been
It's
answering
not wrong,
questions.
just, it's a shame.
Some other things that might be interesting, we talked about solar, I anticipated that's a sore spot. I was ready to talk a little bit about where the money from solar, where it comes and how much we've gotten. One other thing I found interesting,
And the good thing about solar, Robbie, is once y'all got the board straight, you got setbacks and screening, and it's a lot better if you've been to Clay's Mill lately and seen that debacle.
I go by there all the time.
Yeah, I know, don't you have to stop and throw up?
Yeah, well, we're trying to fix it.
Why?
Because it's right out in the open, it just,
Visibility,
It-
aesthetics.
it ruined people's property values, and
Well,
Ruins land.
There's nobody out there that lost any money on a property value.
Really?
Yeah. In fact, I can show you a house on the other side.
Uh-huh.
I've done a lot of research, I didn't mean to.
Right around that?
In the first 3 to 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
you'll see a small drop in, less than 10% drop. But after 5 years, it's almost unnoticeable.
Even the ones right up on that,
I can take you over to, what's the one over there on Riverdale? GC's 20 megawatt.
Wow.
There's a house within 150 foot.
but it's
And
got
it's sold 3
setbacks
times
and,
each time.
but it's got setbacks and screening. Not like Clay's Mill.
A little bit. They had 50, I forget what it is, but it does have setback and screen.
Yeah.
But that house was within 150 foot of a solar panel.
Mm-hmm.
And it is sold for, the last time it sold for twice the assessed value.
But the-
That's another problem.
But the board did their job when that was cited, so it's not such an eyesore. I'm just saying,
I'm
Clay's
gonna-
Mill
I'm
is
gonna
awful.
tell you that there was a learning process with this.
Oh, I bet it
Where
was.
does the money go?
Yeah, well,
That's what this is
solar
all
money
about.
comes in, first of all, comes from 3 places. Number one, when you take agricultural rural land and change it to commercial, which is what happens when you make it solar.
What is it called?
You go from agricultural,
Is
residential
commercial?
to commercial.
Oh.
It just changed to commercial.
Of course
Gotcha.
it is.
Okay? The tax rate goes up, or the value of the land rather goes up by a factor of 10. So it starts generating about 10 times more, 8 to 10, I forget the exact number, more money per acre. So it's hard to see that, because it goes.
Plus machinery and tools tax?
No, I haven't talked about that yet.
Oh.
That's just the real estate tax,
Right.
okay? There's 3, one of them's real estate tax. So you get a big boost in real estate tax. It's hard to see that because it goes into the general fund.
Okay.
Now, we could create a program to track that, but that's what happens. So that's a big boost, okay? The second one is, you mentioned machinery and tools tax.
Yeah.
Well, some of them pay that, but prior county administrator was pretty spry with that. The problem with machinery and tools tax, you get a big value up front. These things last for 30 years. Guess what happens to that value?
Starts depreciating.
Yeah, and you get past 10 or 15 years, it's down next to nothing.
But
So
that-
he said, hey guys, let me give you a good deal. We'll make it a little less, but I want a percentage of your profits.
The,
That
I
sounds
want a
good.
percentage of your gross, okay?
of your profit when you sell?
No, gross.
No, when they sell the
gross.
power,
Oh,
when they
every
sell the
year?
electricity. And actually, it's not profit, it's a percent of their gross sales.
I see.
So guess what, when the price of electricity goes up and they get more for it, guess what? The county gets a little more, because it's a percentage.
That's reasonable.
So a lot of ours are done that way. So that means we have a steady income stream over the life of that thing.
But now,
there's a-
doesn't the value of a solar panel, doesn't
It
a
does.
solar panel degrade
It-
quite rapidly?
No, it's
30 years, something like that?
Yeah, you're at about 70% is what they call the end of life. It's not done, but 70%. It's about 30 years. But then the third process is what we call siting agreement, okay? You're gonna make us jump through all these hoops, so we want you to pay us up front, or different steps, money, just cash. We don't care about, it's not real estate tax, it's not machinery and tools, it's not profit sharing, it's just cash. So-
Bribery to let us put this here.
That's what it is. And it's,
That's what it is.
Spain. And that's why you'll hear me say, I don't want the state to take over.
No.
Because if the state takes over and tells us we have to do this, we lose that ability to manipulate.
It's always a
Take
bad
that
idea.
from Rome.
Hey, it's always a bad idea to let any government get involved in anything, but the
So
bigger the government, the
What I
worse.
do have here, I'll just pass it out to you, I think I have some. I have here a list of, the siting agreement's easy money to track. But to let you know that the increase in real estate and the increase in the machinery and tools on the few, and then the property, that runs about $2 million a year. Once we get all 2022, that'll be about $2 million a year.
Question. So is this, a couple of questions, actually. So if the solar panels and the solar installation lasts for 30 years, does that mean that that's going to stay commercial not only through 30, less than or equal to 30 years, but after the solar installation is removed or defunct or no longer operable, what is the status of that property?
Once they remove, number one, I didn't mean for this to be a discussion about solar, but I want to answer that question. At the end of life, we have in our ordinance, they have to put up money now that grows to remove all of that equipment from that field.
Yeah, but what is the
The real
status
estate
of,
taxes results to what it was.
to
The
rural?
owner can make, if I'm not
Reverse.
mistaken, the owner can make a request to put it back to agricultural
Yeah,
instead
they
of
can put it back
commercial.
to,
But he'll make more money if he sells it as commercial, so that means there's like a
If he sells
commercial
it as
if he
commercial,
sells it.
footprint. What?
If he sells it, yes.
commercial.
But
Right,
that's
well,
up to
somebody's
you.
gonna wanna buy it.
middle of nowhere, no, they gonna put a farm on
Yeah,
it.
but, I'm trying to find, I thought did I not put it in here?
So that I don't think, Ron, if you've got your crystal ball with you tonight, you can tell us about 30 years. I left mine. Okay, that works, that works. Man.
Watch your camera behind you, don't forget.
Oh, yeah.
Here, I'm just gonna put this up here, right, as I mentioned, solar siding money, and this is money, this is, I figure out how to operate a computer, would be all right. And this is sites, and you can see, we've gotten to date, a little over $2 million in siting agreement money. And that's an account, and we spend it every now and then, somebody, we can use solar money, and that's what they're talking about. They're talking about the siting money. Because the other two, or 2.5, the real estate increases and the profit sharing, which kind of goes into the tax rate, that goes into the general fund. That reduces our need to increase taxes.
I don't know the names. What's the one on, Rogers Chapel Road? Is that Clover Creek? I don't know the name,
No,
proper name.
Rogers
That's the one
Chapel
making the
is,
money.
and they might not have been, they might have been one of the early ones and they didn't have to do this. We were learning.
Well, that
I can tell you which one.
That
it
went
is.
pretty well. I mean,
But it
Robbie,
was one of the earliest ones because it has the least boards.
Robbie,
So what you're saying, according to that, is the county gets a
Got it.
little over $2 million a year
Well,
from the solar
Yeah,
farms.
well, that's it, not this. This is just $2 million cash we got up front,
yeah.
or getting. But we do get $2 million a year from the solar farm.
But now that $2 million up front you put against debt, loan payments, whatever.
We could, but we prefer to do things like something and, build something that we didn't have the money for, like
A school.
build,
do you have any idea what contribution it makes to power availability in the county?
Zero.
Excuse me, and,
Zero.
or does it make
Well,
it,
there's a couple of things, and it's not quite true, but.
And does it make any
I need to
difference?
have one of these just on solar,
Yeah.
okay? But just to answer your question, then I'm gonna move off of solar, that's okay. From the power, there are two, there's a break, 5 megawatt, think of 5 megawatt, that's the size. 5 megawatts small, it's like 20 acres or less, okay? But it's actually 4.99, they can't go to 5, they consider that small solar. That is what they call, they got a name for it.
Community zone?
It can be community solar, that's how they, but that power stays local.
That actually goes in the grid.
It goes in the local grid, because, you have these great big wires, they're like, and now don't quote me on the voltage, but there's a big number.
Yeah.
And then you have these three phase, which we have that here, stops right up here. That's a 110, they call it something, 130K or something. That's a smaller,
Yeah.
and they can put these smaller ones on that. Anything bigger than 5 megawatts, they gotta go into a transformer station.
Which is heading right straight to
We don't know
Boyd.
where it's going.
Uh,
It
Bo-
could come
Boyd,
here,
too.
think of it like pressure. If there's a demand here, it
Yeah.
could flow right back. But
If Boynton's not using it all in their
Right.
data center.
right?
All right, let's move on from this.
Yeah.
Robert, let's go to the next topic.
Yeah, well, that was, I was actually at my end there, and as I was gonna stop here,
Yeah, back to
and,
budget.
and just, and it was questions from here. That was my stopping point. We went through the overall process, and we talked about a little bit the graph of what's incoming, what's outgoing. I looked at the tax rates, and then this is it, line by line. So, what are the questions?
I got 2 points I'd like to make. Whether or not that's going to generate a question, I don't know. Point number one. One thing that anybody, I don't care where you're from, what you do, is what they want in life is to have a sense of fairness.
Okay,
Now-
guys, I'm out here.
A sense of fairness.
Oh, go ahead.
For example, If you own a business and I own a business, we should pay the same tax rate. You shouldn't have a lawyer that can get you through loopholes that you don't have to pay taxes and I do. You're a man, I'm a woman. We do the exact same job, we should get the same pay. It's a sense of fairness. Well, here in this county, what I have discovered, having lived here 25 years, is that the assessment on property in this county is not fair and equal.
We agree.
Okay, boom, there you go. People
Back
get,
to Ron, who just
people
came
get
in.
angry when there's not equal assessment. I'm paying triple what some people pay on my house.
Stick around, you'll find out why Ron is so good for this county. He said, he looks at that, and he sees that too, and he says, hey, have we ever hired somebody from outside to come in to do this? And the assessor's office says, no, we pay people
Yeah,
to do the
well,
same job again and again and again. He says, well, maybe we should do that every now and then. He's right.
And bring in people that actually know what's going on? Well, that's an astounding idea, sir.
Would we pay a little extra money for that? Yes.
But
Would
you
our
got
assessment change?
I don't know.
Yes. And we would get more money. We'd probably have to turn those tax rates
There's some
down.
grandfather clause or something.
Yeah, and so they had to sell it first
But-
for it to come up.
That may be one of the only uses of the word equity I've ever heard that was
Well, that's when
good.
they pass it down.
And there was something else I
Because
wanted to
mine got
show that
reassessed
the
in the
board probably doesn't want me to show. If I can find it,
When
I
you
will show
bought it, it tripled.
No, 20 years later.
So the assessors that come around with your,
Yeah.
personal property,
Not personal property. Well, they do, they do
Real
that
estate.
by, they don't come to your house. all personal
well,
property.
they did, they came to mine,
Well, that's property.
yeah.
Yeah, for property, they do come to your house. For personal property, they pull from the DMV.
Yeah.
But how do they figure out what amount to tax? And I say that because they did come to my house, and I met the guy, and he wanted to know how much did I pay for X.
Shed, if you put up a shed or not, something, they may want to know
Yeah.
what you
And
pay.
I'm not gonna tell, I mean, that's their job, but I.
Well, I didn't. They asked me about my shed, and I just said, well, I paid this. And they said, well, thanks for telling me. Of course, I know the
I know,
tax
that's
guy,
what- that was
I know
his
the
job.
tax man, yeah, I built another shed, but I better and so I don't invite him to my house.
You what?
Nothing.
I just think I think things like that, this county, and I realize that your job is to kind of raise money and keep the county balanced and all of that. But it seems like on some of these things, the board is getting almost as bad as Abigail Spanberg.
Don't say
When she
that.
wants to tax, I mean, there's,
Careful now, there's people that like it.
Where?
but she wants to tax, like in Northern Virginia, I mean, she wants to tax, walking dog, if you walk a dog, you have to get taxed for that. If you get Uber, you get taxed for that.
I think you should.
I don't think that we should be taxed on some of these little things. I mean, like I bought a shed, I bought the sales tax on it. I shouldn't have to keep paying taxes on it. I mean, that's ridiculous. And because that's the way it's always been done, is not the right answer.
But
And the
there's,
same thing, when you go and pay your county decal, where does that money, why am I paying for that? Where does that money go? Nobody can tell me.
Well, I just did.
yeah,
Showed you,
that's what the budget is.
showed you that 35-page document. That's where it's going.
See, I don't care if I pay taxes, as long as it's fair and equitable around
Don't
everybody.
use that word, fair. That's a good
Some of
word.
your questions, our hands are tied in the county. The state of Virginia is a Dillon rule state. And what that means is, most states, the local government can do whatever they want to unless the state says it can't. Well, in Virginia, we can't do nothing unless the state says we can, okay? So we got some really strange rules, like that 1% tax we just did. And, you'll see some rules in the state of Virginia that said, if you're a town of 8 to 5,000 or 8,000 to 8,500 people, and you're next to a river that has so many gallons per minute, you can do, and you'll say, why is this so specific? Because they wanted to give this one town the right to do something, and they didn't want to give it to everybody else. So but understand, most of the questions, why do we tax the way we do? Because they tell us we can do real estate, we can do personal property, we can do these other taxes, and that's it. We had to get permission to do that 1% to fund that school.
And the bottom line is, it costs this much to operate, and we've got to collect that much
We
to
gotta
cover
get that
it.
money. Back to the budget, we gotta have a balanced budget.
Okay, I want to make my second point now. The second thing that frustrates people and makes them angry is the waste in government. For example, did any of you go when the high school closed and they had the free-for-all? They said, just come take what you want.
They tried to sell it first.
They should have gotten an auction house. I do auctions. I watched people with pickup trucks taking furniture, filing cabinets, you name it. I know, I was there to scavenge myself. Let me finish
Make
my,
sure you take this part.
I am. Let me finish my thought. I was there myself scavenging. I got some brand new trash cans. I got office supplies. I got unopened packs of reams of paper. I was like, I cannot believe this got left, and it could have been sold, auctioned, used, something. So that was one example of a huge amount of waste. So why can't we extrapolate some of that into creative ideas? Another thing I think is I look at all these buses here on the weekend. Why don't y'all start some public transport with that? I mean, there's so many different.
Insurance.
Now, there's a couple of questions here. Number one, the school doing it, you know, we have products too. The county sells all of theirs, they auction it off, or if it can be auctioned. There's a gov auction, they auction all that stuff.
It wasn't done in that case, and then y'all turn around and
No,
buy
this-
$300 hammers.
No, that was the school board now. So the school board representative for District 5 is Jimmy Clay. I'd be glad to give you his number about them not having an auction, but we didn't have any control over that.
But most people look at the government as the government. You
Yeah.
can divide up departments all you want, but that's not how people perceive it.
And I'm just telling you, the county, we do auction off, because there was a board of supervisors members who bought 5 of the vehicles, but that's another story. But, and I was recently told by an auction house for land that was being auctioned, that as a board member, I could not bid on it. But,
Because I think the school board's about to get all new buses too. I'm just,
well,
my
no, no,
point
no,
is
no, no, no.
waste.
They've
That's my
asked for-
point.
You know, they have to come to us to ask for more money to, but, and the buses is, they rob Peter, a good news story, the school board has robbed Peter to pay Paul. You know, that's why the school, they didn't do maintenance. And they have stopped buying the number of buses because they were doing money to do else things. Well, 3 years ago, I think it was, the county, we changed how we fund the school. We no longer just give them a lump sum of money. We give it to them in line items. And I can show you this. In other words, you have to spend this money for maintenance, you have to spend this money for salaries, you have to spend this money for buses, you know, so transportation, so
But
it's
you
a little
can't
bit-
use those buses on the weekend for other
Well,
projects than the school because you wouldn't be insured.
Yeah, it could cost, and as far as having bus transportation in Halifax County, we used to have it,
We did.
we really did.
But I mean, at least explore it. Let me ask you
No,
this,
they
is
had
there
it, but
any
it-
waste in the
it-
budget?
There's any what?
Is there any waste in the budget now?
Of
course there is.
I almost have to say yes, I gotta say
There
yes.
you go.
But back to, we're gonna try, Ron's gonna, his idea of a zero-based review, that's try to help address that. And,
I have a question. Where does the Department of Recreation fit in the expenditures breakdown?
like I said.
I'm just looking at the chart, I don't know.
Yeah, well, this is a little thing I wanted, before, let me go answer that question, then, let me see. Let me see.
Other agencies, probably. Other agencies?
Oh, you're asking where it did.
Department of Recreation fits in expenditures.
Thirty-five
That's a good
pages, we don't
question.
remember everything.
Yeah, probably other, I don't think it would be.
He should be able to tell
I
us.
thought I saw.
Yeah.
And I guess that's for Edmonds Park and the prizery and the museum.
And the Department of, and the rec center,
That's a private entity.
Yeah.
but like the rec center, anything that is tax funded by the county in the area of recreation.
It's under
and parks.
recreation, it has its own page 19 of this budget.
But where does it figure in the pie chart?
I don't know, right off the top of my head. Let me go look, see if I can see.
It's not a big slice of the pie, we know that.
No, expenditures.
I'm guessing other agencies, Robbie, since that's 1%.
Yeah, that's what I was
Shouldn't.
thinking.
That would be, well, I don't guess it's, I'm looking at under recreation here, on the, when I see it on the, there's that's another thing, but we probably need to identify these more, but it's probably in that 1%, let's see. Well, I can tell you, we're $260,000, so it's probably in that 1%.
So I wanna share an experience with you as a member of the Board of Supervisors.
Okay.
The health of a community builds community, and it can lower costs in the realms of social services, et cetera. And I, as a senior, like to maintain my health, and if I was a property owner, I currently am not, I would want my tax.
You got a car?
Sir?
You got a car?
I do.
Okay, you pay
Well, I
taxes.
pay a few of those then. But the point is, the availability of recreation, my value for my contribution for Parks and Recreation is not available. I've tried to go to South Boston to use the facility,
South Boston,
rec
Center?
center. Yes, sir.
That's technically South Boston, but we.
It's in the county.
Huh? It's in the county, I agree.
And I'm
South-
not done.
Truth in Linden, South Boston's paying for that.
You know what? I don't care. I'm a taxpayer and
That's
it's
right.
county allotment, right?
Yeah, you're allowed to go there.
No, because it's never open.
Well,
Let me tell you the worst. I want to play pickleball.
Well, it's open every day. I go walk there with my dad, so I know it's
Right.
open 3 days a week.
But you can't get in to play pickleball but for 2 hours on like a Tuesday or Thursday. It's open multiple evenings for basketball, but you can't go in because the court's full. They have a weight room, but you can't go in because it's very restricted. It's not giving me the value I'd like to see for
I'm at
seniors.
risk here talking for South Boston, but a lot of it has to do with people. They have to have staff, and that's where they're.
Well, what kind of facts do you need? I can get the schedule in a minute.
They gotta have somebody there.
Sir?
They gotta have somebody there.
Staff.
Staff.
Staff, okay.
Staff.
Rob, is that come on?
And I'm not trying to say short, which is a good segue into, if I wanted to do this, what I've thrown up on the board now is, and I really thought about maybe this shows priorities. We come with, every year the staff used to throw out these areas of budget priorities. And the numbers here are actually what they did last year. They took all 8 board of supervisors, but they gave them a blank sheet, they gave them these, and said, number these 1 through 12. And they tallied all that up from the 8 of us, or 9 of us. And this is what came out. I'm not sure that I'm proud of it, that's why I hesitate to show it.
Are you saying that those are priorities?
That's what the priorities came out of the board, from last year's board of supervisors. So I'm kind of, I don't want to start anything difficult, but I thought one of the things I should do is maybe throw out these sheets to people that came and go, all right, you go 1 through 12. You tell me what you think is best. What you just told me is, you see, right now we have, you just talked about
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec, currently number 9 on this list.
In other words, not a priority,
It's not a priority. Well,
not a top priority.
why isn't it? Oh, who gave you input on that?
8 board of
The
supervisors.
supervisors.
All the
Like I said, I'm
supervisors.
ashamed to say I was one of them. I
I
don't
see.
remember what I put, but I was one of them that voted.
That's
Jeff
interesting.
can step out of this because he wasn't here last year. He didn't vote on this.
Hallelujah.
But he will next year, or we'll be able to do it again.
Rob, there's no free lunch. If you want more of this, you gotta take less of
And that's
that.
what it is in a small community.
In a big community.
It's about money.
Yeah.
And see, when you're looking at like economic development, we think we want more, so that's number 1, is it right or wrong?
Yeah.
Capital improvements, a lot of our buildings are in need, this one, financial accountability and general government, we feel like that too. Community colleges, education, compensation, paying our employees, somebody might put that, I like that. Local school systems, number 6. But I just went to this budget class, and one of the things they told me was, you can tell you what your priorities are, but where you put your money is where your priorities are.
Right.
And I will say, while education is number 6 right here, if you go back to that where we spend our money, that circle,
Yeah.
28% of it went to education. It's our biggest pie. So I kind of like that idea. I want to show that to Jimmy.
With the local schools, does that include your buses, your transportation, your salary, your buildings,
All of it.
everything?
Yeah, and your answer on the buses, they tried, when we had a bus system, it stopped in this early sixties because nobody rode it.
Yeah.
You gotta have ridership.
Yeah, they tried to revive it a couple of times and it
Yeah, they've
always
tried
failed.
it always fails.
And they failed for the same reason a little country store on every corner failed, because people have cars and they go
Right.
places.
Yeah.
And then it made me think of something else you can't even when I was a kid, I grew up with the bus station down on the corner, used to go there all the time. The Greyhound, I rode the bus myself to Virginia Beach when I was 9. You can't get a Greyhound bus here, they don't stop here anymore.
Right.
But that's one of the obstacles to employment here is transportation.
Yeah, well, I went to a thing at
Yeah.
DCC a year or so ago, it was very eye-opening. They were looking at they didn't want more people, but it correlated to education, but childcare, transportation, and what was the other one? Handicap,
Training, skills,
handicap was, not handicap, they called it something else.
Access.
Being able to employ folks with handicaps, if they had another name for it. Those were the three big ones. There are people that they say they don't want to work, they don't because they can't get there, transportation. They can't find childcare, and there's no job for them. They can't get in the building or. So guess what? Our IDAs, priorities, got a childcare thing going on right now. Okay. Transportation is probably one we haven't addressed, but it's difficult. We have tried. I mean, prior to me, numerous times with the bus system. And there's one there going to DC, here in Danville, I think somebody was trying, but I'm not familiar with it. But it hasn't gone well. Uber, can we have an Uber here?
we have Uber here.
Yeah, you're gonna wait a while to get it, but
Yeah. Do you?
you call Uber right now, let me know.
I'm an Uber driver,
She's here,
I'm an
she'll
Uber
carry where you wanna
driver.
go now.
You gotta make the reservation and people pick it up. I'm an Uber driver. I never get requests in South Boston. It's
That's
usually
because they don't
Danville.
think they can.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Do you go out in the country?
Now, when I was in
go
DC, that's
anywhere.
great.
No,
I
but do
thought
you
about
get
it.
requests from the
It was
country?
great. I thought about it.
I don't get much from South
Had
Boston.
the
Danville
young lady
keeps me
show me how to
busy.
add it to
If I
my
want
phone to have
Uber, I'll
ride
just go to
attendants.
Danville and I'll have
Doesn't
rides on
happen.
hire.
Is there not a taxi
Here.
business here anymore?
Used to be, one
They
guy.
just started a new one, give yourself a ride to the airport.
But not just normal.
A friend of mine,
17 miles
son
from
opened
here?
that up.
Nobody's
I wish you
out
will. I
to
just-
pick me up at 17 miles.
What was that?
Unless I'm doing something
Ernest
like.
Cage.
Ernest Cage, that's right. He and I,
Right, but for me to do.
he got a funny
Now,
story. I
Uber
fired him.
Eats is popular. My daughter does Uber Eats.
So he has
Great
a taxi
worker.
business here, or?
Is it,
Yeah,
limo
it's-
service
well,
and-
it depends.
and
He's
Like,
up
she
in
was
Charlie
saying
Kane's old
yesterday at
business?
Buffalo Junction, she
Is
got
it Charlie
$25.
Kane's old business, or is it another
It's-
So
company?
that was to deliver groceries.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a great guy. That hurt
Yeah.
my feelings.
That's different too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was
That's
one
what
out
it's
in
about
Clover
Uber Eats.
area,
It's
I
all about
don't
delivery.
remember much
See,
about it,
that's
but
the
he
funny
was a
thing about
taxi
being
cab,
a
and he,
But anyway,
I
so
don't
what
like
other
going to
questions?
stores and getting stuff or dating.
That's
I
the
wanna
end
stay
of
in my
it.
car, so I
I
do
mean,
the
I
rides.
really wasn't
She
gonna show
does
that
the
last one,
delivery.
but
That's so interesting.
Just, priorities.
It is interesting.
so how could you, I don't see any much different way on it. I don't see where that's terrible. It's not good, maybe. What would you do to change it?
I'm asking you. I'm
Um,
asking, I'm
well,
asking.
What did you say?
I think
I
Public Works,
participated last year, that's where we ended up.
Public
When I
Works,
look at that, am I terribly proud of it? No.
but I'm thinking Public Works and Refuge might be more important than number 12. Just seems to me like it would.
Yeah.
When you have
Not if
property
you look at-
maintenance, when you have
She
property
didn't
maintenance
ask me
up
about where
there,
her trash went, she asked me where could she go play?
Yeah, that's true.
Look at our roadsides and you think Public Works and Refuge is where it needs to be, right there, the way people throw trash out on the highway.
Maybe we can get the sheriff to use the prisoners in jail to pick up trash like they
They did
used
that for a
to.
while.
but
I
they can't do that
You
anymore,
ought to
can
play
they?
pickleball.
Uh,
I play pickleball.
Sometimes you see the Department of Corrections does it, but I don't think locality.
Well, understand the jail system here,
You
to
know,
save money, years ago, 25 years ago, we entered a regional jail system.
Yeah.
So the sheriff really doesn't have a jail here, he has to, he
Yeah.
drops his, we pay for that. We get a bill for so many inmates every year.
And also, if they have prisoners or jailees picking up trash, they gotta have guards. And they probably don't have a lot of extras of those.
Well, number 4, community colleges. Why do we give them money?
So that they participate in the
Higher ed center.
higher ed center.
Yeah.
And I gotta say.
Still,
For
why do we
businesses
give them
coming
money?
in, that.
So the tuition rates aren't so high that kids can't afford it.
Where else do we get welders and plumbers and electricians?
And they will, because they're small and flexible, they will flex to a local business needs, and that's been mentioned at, Period X. That was one of the reasons they came here, because they felt like the community would mold. They didn't know what their needs were gonna be, they felt like the community would mold to that.
And besides that, how can you waste, if, long as it's not wasted, how can you spend too much on education? I don't know, but unless it's wasted money, but if it's actually education.
I'm sure we can find something that's gonna save.
Well, and that's like property maintenance, is that specifically for county-owned business buildings?
Yeah.
All right, and,
We have a lot of
and they're
them.
all
We just had
paid
the
for
big
now,
flood.
right?
Oh, yeah, well, most, there's probably some capital.
And there's no open county-owned spaces now, correct?
What do you mean open? Oh,
That aren't
Unoccupied.
rented.
Huh?
I think we
Probably
rented
not.
all of them.
yeah, I don't think there's
There's very little space
very
rented.
little space.
All right, well, when somebody
Yeah,
rents
'cause
one of
the
those
sheriff had to go
spaces,
rent additional space.
when somebody rents those spaces, for example, the one that was right over here on Cavalier Boulevard, or Hamilton, I think is what it's called now, that closed and something else is moving in it now?
Oh, that's the IDA, they own those.
Okay, so this money, the property maintenance, if the
No,
IDA
no,
owns
that's
it,
separate.
we don't do maintenance
We
on
don't
it.
do that, that's separate fund, that's separate.
But we give money to the IDA.
We do, which is a sore spot, but yes. Another, I'm glad Ron's here, I keep building him up, but it's just, Ron wants to look at making areas of this budget, what's the word?
Self-sufficient.
Self-sufficient areas, IDA is one of them, you know, I believe they should be. Self-sufficient means they're renting enough space, they're generating their own income. Another would be, we'd like to see Parks and Recreations maybe do that a little bit, if possible.
How could you?
If you have a swimming pool, they pay to get in, you know, a certain amount. What are some of the others, you know, tourists, I thought of one the other day, the airport should be its own business center.
I don't think there's enough people there to pay the electricity.
Well, then if it's not, it needs
They-
to close. Me as a county
Dick's
taxpayer that does
Aviation
not use
opened
the
up
airport
10
shouldn't have to pay for
10
it.
years ago.
Who did?
Dick's Aviation opened up they right now they do $2.5 million a year in business right there.
Wow.
In fact, we've had a problem, they doubled their fuel sales there, which that's a sore subject right now, but we're gonna get that fixed. I just got a call today, there's a flying school in Roxborough that doesn't like where they are, and now, can we come here, we have room, can we come here next month, and they want to move here.
Sure.
There's one of the helicopters in, one of the, not Centera, but Centra, has called and asked if we have space for them to base a medical helicopter.
Why would they want that so far from their hospitals?
They don't pick up patients at the hospital.
No, but they take them to it.
Right, well, where do they start?
Not here, I wouldn't think.
Well, where are they picking the
They
patient
come
up
from
from?
Lynchburg to come here to pick up a patient to go back to Lynchburg. They
So
want
if
to
they're
house
already
them.
here,
But they wouldn't take them to Duke or,
well, they generally, Centric's they're gonna pick up patients and take them to their hospitals. So if
And
they've got the closest medical available helicopter.
well, then good, they need a helicopter here then.
We don't have a building, they said, we don't care, do you have land? And we've said yes, and so we're talking to them. But here's the deal, you talk about machinery and tools tax, that's a $15 million helicopter.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I got a question. Can any person in the public have access to the budget to look at it?
Yes,
Sure.
How?
I don't know if it's posted online or.
I don't think I've ever seen it
When we
on.
get ready for the public hearing, it is posted
Yeah.
online, so anybody can.
Yeah, the new budget is, we have not approved it, or it's not up for public hearing, so I'm just, in deference to my fellow board members, I'm showing you last year's budget.
Makes sense.
And I'm gonna tell you, it takes a Philadelphia lawyer to read it.
Two of them.
Didn't say it was easy.
Wouldn't you, if it's hard to read, it must be even harder to write.
That's what kind of went through that process. You know. Like I said, if you want to come next year, you know, we're kind of done there, but next year, if you want to come to early on to the Finance Committee work sessions, you're welcome.
But
When's
why
next
in the
one?
work sessions, why, because I've been to one,
You went to a board work session.
yes. But we can't comment
Well, why
in a
would you?
work session, I mean,
No, that's, but you can see, I mean, you can, offline, you can come.
When we had a public hearing, I mean,
Yeah.
this is about you gathering information, so when the public hearing happens, then you can ask all the questions and kind
Yeah,
of.
Instead of,
Yeah.
instead of what Ron just said, you know, they're gonna have an announcement in the not too distant future, they're gonna drop this online and go, public hearing in 2 weeks or a week or whatever.
Yeah.
Here it is, what are your questions? If you wanna participate in the process and learn what was happening along the way, you can.
But you can't
They have a
really
website.
participate in the
So you have
process,
to
because
go to the
nothing would ever
website.
get done. You go to your
But you
board
can
member
watch,
and
you
tell
can be a part
him.
of it, you can go to your individual board.
No, I don't want that.
All right, when do you announce that and how? How would people find out that we're about to drop the budget, you'll have 2 weeks
It's in the
before?
paper
So you gotta read the newspaper,
And
or
it's
go to your
posted on
County
website,
website.
and the website.
County website.
that's it?
How
I
else
don't
would
know
you
if they
do it?
radio or
I'm just
anything.
asking.
I mean, I
She just
can't
asked
think-
me, does that mean I have to go to the website every day?
I can't think of any other way to get it out except,
Yeah, it's in the newspaper, that's the biggest,
A lot of people
The
don't
local
read, a
newspaper.
lot of people don't read the newspaper.
yeah, you know, well, that's, Ron has brought up the idea of us having a public relations person, and that might be something that's put out on Facebook or whatever.
but I hate to see y'all feed
can I
Facebook.
apply for that job?
Facebook page, yeah.
We ain't done it yet, but
It's in the budget for approval,
it's in the budget.
In 26?
yeah, for the
26,
27.
What's the
27. And that's
what's the
all I can
salary gonna
say.
be, so I know if I want to apply?
Our budget process runs, and I don't know why they do this,
$12.50
but the budget for the county runs from 1 July
Part-time.
to 30 June. So it doesn't run the calendar year. So we're in the
Fiscal year.
25, 26 budget process now, or we call it 25. We're coming up on the 26, 27, well, excuse me, yeah, 25, 26, we call it 26. So we're coming on the 27, 28, and, or 26, 27, which is the 27 budget. Anyway. yeah,
But it's, I can't think of any other way to, I'd love to see more information, but other than online or the newspaper, I don't know where else how else you could,
So,
The radio station may do a PSA, but you have 100 radio stations to choose from, and the local channel, I don't know how many people. I think Lake Country says 35,000, or something like that.
Why don't you start a podcast?
not me. But that's not,
A good turnout tonight. I think this would be the best way to reach John Q. Public and Susie Public, that they can come and they can talk, because if you go to the
but
Board of
anyway,
Supervisors
your-
meetings,
Your door is.
You can't
it's-
ask any
it's
questions.
closed, so you feel
well, you
it's
could ask a
closed.
question if you got them spoke, but you're not gonna get an
Okay, I might
answer.
wait till the morning.
So that's why I wanted to start doing these
All right.
community town hall
but
meetings.
see, if we had better communication, we'd have had more people here tonight. This is a semi-official function.
Well, and two, you know, this is a last minute kind of thing, so I didn't get
No,
a
no,
chance
but
to do the
nobody-
advertising, you know, to get the word out. I mean, that's a big thing.
I'm not finding fault with this at all, I'm just trying to think of a better way to do it, not,
Given everything that's happened, that was kind of okay, that we could do a lot of
There's gotta be a
advertising
better
right now.
way.
Just- And in fact, I got a little afraid when.
oh, he's talking to us, I thought he was still on the phone.
I even called the sheriff's board, called Fred this morning, said, Fred, would you make sure there's a deputy in the area?
And there may be one in the area.
Yeah, well, he did, he said, you want him inside? I said, I don't think we need him inside, I don't want him in summer.
Hey, that little deal that shows bad weather coming. The electronic, the text alert for bad weather that the county does. You know what we're talking about, don't you?
Are you talking about Eventbrite?
That's it. Could we use that for communication?
So for a tool like that, you want to reserve it for emergency purposes. Otherwise, if you're using it for everything, people won't necessarily pay.
So is there a way to use the data from that separately for non-emergency? I'm just trying to look at a way to communicate.
I'm sure there is. I'm sure there is.
Is it worth looking into?
that's part of the reason that we want to get a communications person to kind of help figure out how to get information out there in a regular way that is reliable.
It can't be, but so, and if you've got somebody communicating, it's got to stay itself on. If nothing else, people would show up at things like this and learn something. Oh, wait a minute, you don't want people to learn things, that's bad.
Robbie, was there anything else that you kind of wanted to highlight or touch
No, I
on?
actually, when we got to the budget, I was done.
Okay,
But I had solar stuff and I had all this stuff, I can answer, I was ready to answer questions. It wasn't,
Program like that at the
Um,
high school.
do you have anything you want to add to what he said, Jeff, or?
No, I'm just spectating.
I was just thinking that would be a good way for them to have OJT in the county to get what they need.
Ron, is there anything that you would like to contribute to this meeting tonight before we kind of wrap up?
I'm sitting there, I was learning too, you know, that Robbie has certainly a lot more years of experience in the local than I do, so this was good, you know, to be here and observe as well.
so I would, again, I would say, I would put myself out of the board members. Jeff and I are probably tied,
But you're the only one that's taking the VACO class.
yeah, so that
Well, I don't
550 will
think
get you a
anybody
cup
else
of
has.
coffee, that 550 will get you a cup of coffee at Starbucks.
Robbie, is there a program at school that would have to do with communications and public, that you could use those students that are learning, give them OJT to communicate out in the county?
Be a question for our folks at the training at
At school?
Shucks.
Where?
Dr. Can you think of her name?
Husky.
That's an
Husky.
Husky. Southern Virginia Higher Education.
Oh.
Yeah, would it be better at the high school level or the college level?
You know, I do think that the high school has a program, I'm just not familiar.
You know what
with it.
they do?
have their own
I
YouTube channel.
remember going by the room and they had cameras and stuff and a news reporter and,
So wouldn't that be a good way to give the kids experience and us
good idea.
info? I'm full of good ideas, just no process, I just don't follow through, so that's your job.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, the schools are working with us trying to develop fire and EMS training programs through the schools.
That's
Man,
another-
that would be
which we
great.
had one once upon
We
a time.
did, and it fell through the cracks.
Because right now, as from what I understand, there are no such thing as volunteer firemen, they just don't exist.
Few and
You're right
far
here.
between.
Huh?
That's another budget issue, we don't want to.
Oh, no, volunteer doesn't get paid.
But we're gonna have to do all paid
I
at
know,
some point
I
in
know,
time in the
and that's-
very near future.
That's because, if we had a fire and EMS at school, maybe it would help a little.
Training ground would be.
Well, then the
very
kids go,
beneficial.
hey, I've learned all this stuff, now I can go practice it.
Yeah.
That was tried when I was on the rescue squad here. But when they get on that ambulance, they're excited when they get there, but they want to get on that ambulance and play. So the class, and I know Barry Anderson taught the class, if it's a good structured class, and I think Barry had that, and if the people at the rescue squad have time to help train them, it is a great program. But now it's got to the point to where you have to do so much training to be a firefighter or an EMS. I mean, it's a lot of training and it's a lot of money.
Well, Robbie, when you were a kid, anybody could be a volunteer fireman and actually do something, and I bet that's not now.
I was in the rescue squad at 18.
Well, is this,
And then you had
this
to
is
have the
gonna,
cafe.
everybody, this is gonna conclude tonight's meeting.
All of this, interesting.
But follow me on Facebook, and I'm hoping to get every supervisor to do a town hall like this. So if you follow me, Thirsty Sherman on Facebook, you'll know when the next event comes up.